Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to Evermore YouTube channel. It's Chris back with the instant match reaction to Newcastle United 2, Manchester United 3. I cannot believe this bag of crap Man United side has just beaten us this evening. It's really disappointing. I'm going to try and cover it as best I can. Just a little warning before I go any further. I am evermore on tour because the day job has taken over, and I may disappear with the Wi-Fi. Apparently, there's a Wi-Fi outage in the area. So I am hot spotting this bad boy. So Mark may jump in as a substitute, but hopefully he'll have more impact than Miggy Almiron or Harvey Barnes did this evening if he has to come off the bench. But we'll get stuck right into this in a minute. Just before we get moving, as I always say, if you haven't already, smash subscribe. We'd love you to come and join us. We're over 7,500 subs, creeping up to 8,000. Hopefully we will get there with all your guys' help. It's been amazing how many of you have clicked that button so far. We are really climbing the ranks of the old Newcastle United YouTube list, which is brilliant. But if you haven't, smash that button, recommend us to family or friends, and you won't regret it. So let's get stuck right into this dismal result really tonight. Dismal performance is maybe too strong, but dismal result for 100% sure. Awful result, really. You know, I said this was a must-win game. Me and Mark said it was a must-win game. And I can't believe we didn't win it. This Manchester United side are really, really poor. And I'm very, very disappointed that we haven't won this football game. But let's have a look at the lineup. Hopefully, Mark will bring it up in the background. So the lineup, again, Dubravka continued in goal, which I'll get on to him in a minute. Nick Pope has to start this game for me. I love Eddie Howe a bit. And, you know, whatever happens, I think he's done well to get us to the position that we're in. But playing the Martin Dubravka over Nick Pope is wrong on all levels for me. You know, he's dreadful. Trippier came in because Tino's injured, which is really disappointing. And then obviously Kraft and Byrne with the centre halves. Well, Lewis Hall, a left back, and the midfield three was Anderson, Bruno, and Longstaff. So no starting position for Joe Linton. Then the front three was Isaac, Gordon, and Murphy. Now that Manchester United side, as you can see, they had the old boys at the back and Casemiro and Johnny Evans, and we were all licking our chops thinking Alexander Isak would torture them. And for the first 10 minutes, we looked like we were bang up for this. You know, we were pressing them, we were getting in behind them, but the final ball was poor, the touch was poor, the decision making was poor. Even in the first 10 minutes where we unlocked the door a little bit, I'm away in a hotel, and it's a hotel in the golf club, and I was down in the golf club bar. There's all these loud pissheads who just finished the round of golf, and a lot of them are Man United fans. I was sitting in front of the TV. In the first 10 minutes, I thought we're going to batter these here. And sadly, that didn't actually happen. And then we allowed Manchester United to get back into the game. And they go a goal up. And they didn't really deserve it. I didn't feel it didn't really do much. I mean, Bruno Fernandes, you know, is a really good player. We said that in the preview. We said that on What's Going On. He's a complete bell end, but he's a very, very good footballer. And he got on the ball too much. You know, he started in a centre-forward position, which blew my fucking mind. Even the Man United guy behind me said that. What the hell is Bruno Fernandes playing up front for? That tells you what he thinks of Højlund and Rashford. But he controlled the game. Bruno Fernandes, he popped up in areas. He was whinging at the referee as he always does. But we allowed him to play. We allowed him to influence the game. And I just felt that was poor by Newcastle. Isak didn't look at it. You know, again, the touch, the movement wasn't quite there. You know, the little jink inside was done very gingerly as opposed with confidence. Gordon was busy. You know, Hall was good offensively, but got caught short defensively. I can't believe Byrne got beat for pace off McTominay, which blew my fucking mind. But the goal, we'll talk about the first goal. So the first goal, the lads are trying to kind of, you know, bunch together defensively as a unit. For some weird reason, they just leave Kobe Mainoo to wander off on his own. And it's such a shit goal to concede. He's unmarked in the box, miles onside. He's got time to take the chance and put it away. And it's so shit by Newcastle defensively. It really, really is. I can't blame Dubravka for that one. Again, he was super glued to his fucking line anyway, so he wasn't alive to it. But it's just a shit goal to concede, really. And we're 1-0 down there, and you think, what the fucking hell is going on here? And and then half time comes, and you wonder what's happening. So just get some of your comments here, guys, before we go into the second half. Roger's saying Gordon has to be the. Oh, sorry, I've just clicked away from that. I don't know if Mark clicked that or I clicked that. Gordon has to be the dead ball man. Sorry, Trips, but he's just better. Trips was really poor tonight. Rod's really, really poor. Could hear his knees creaking, from all the way from the Old Trafford Stadium. Terrible. Marcus is saying we have to be patient, of which I'm not. I don't think a lot of people are patient tonight, mate. P. James says, shit the bed against the worst Man United team and live in memory. And more than enough chances. I'll get into that in a minute, P. James. So hang around with that one, mate, because I will certainly be giving you my tuppence on that one. George is saying, well, we really fucked things up for ourselves tonight. There were a lot sticking the chins out, asking to get sparked out like a young Tyson Fury. We punched ourselves in the face. Yeah, no doubt about that. Robert said that was hard what it takes, start to finish. Absolutely. Ian says he doesn't want Europe, not the conference. No way. Marcus again says Barnes look way off of it. I'll get into Barnes in a minute. Jimmy says some dodgy VAR in both games tonight. Yeah, we'll get onto the penalty there. John is saying just shy, blown the last two games. Too many players, poor week in, week out. RGA Fox is saying tough one to take tonight. A lot of average performances from average, steady Eddie players. We'll get into that in a second. We let the Manx keep the ball in decisive areas, lackluster lads. It's not very good, is it? Who's it? Kiwi Town. Sorry, Kiwi Toon. Sorry, mate. I'm half asleep. I've been up since 4 and on the road since 5. So long day for me. Thanks, Newcastle, as well, for top of my night off. Ship 3 against a piss poor team, disgustingly. And Anthony says another year, another referee turned a blind eye. It was Stonewall penalty to save Man U. Longstaff last year, going this year. It was a penalty for me. He puts his foot clean on him, and I think that's a pen all day long. And they don't give it, as Mark's has shown in the still there. Amrabat stamps on the back of his Achilles. That's a cast iron penalty for me. That did he even go to VAR? He's ripped his sock. Look at that. He's ripped his sock. That's how bad that was. But I don't even know if he went to VAR. Just a shit decision once again. But I said that in the preview. I said referees bottle big decisions against Manchester United. They bottled it, and he bottled it again tonight. I thought the referee was shit again tonight. He didn't, as Mark says there in the comments, checked and cleared by VAR. Disgraceful. Another reason to throw that thing in the fucking bin. The rant's coming on that soon, by the way, guys. So make sure you check that out. But again, I knew the ref would bottle it. He was piss poor. Took ages to book a player. Loads of little niggly fouls by Man United. Let them go. Let them slide. Book does really quickly, as you would expect. But we get the equaliser. Go back in the second half. We get the equaliser, and it is Anthony Gordon. It's a nice bit of play. Ball comes across from Murphy. Nice cross, to be fair, from Murphy. About time, because he did very little against Brighton. And it's a good instinctive finish by Gordon, ones each. And we deserve it at that particular time. We are pressing. We are getting into positions. And I just felt that there wasn't enough desire from the players. There wasn't enough belief or heart, certainly not enough quality to just push on and get that second goal. Manchester United are poor. They had 2 pub team players at the back, really, whose better years are long, long behind them. These 2 fuckers would need a TARDIS or a DeLorean to go back to their heyday. That's how long ago they are. And Isak was well off the pace. You could tell he's still ill or whatever it is, or he's just fatigued, he's tired. He didn't have the same zip. He didn't have the same vigor. And surprise, surprise, we have no centre forward on the bench to take him off and replace him, because the centre forward who normally does that is fucked again. 32 years old, perpetually injured, time ago. Great goal scoring record, lovely bloke, charismatic, all that. I think he'll be an unbelievable pundit or podcaster when he retires, by the way. But he can't be in the Newcastle United centre forward anymore, because you can't rely on his fitness. He's got to go. We have to get somebody off the bench who can do something if Isak is off like he was tonight, and we had fucking nobody. And that was the problem. We make the subs. We bring on Almiron. We bring on Barnes. We bring on Joe Linton, who, again, was so rusty. His touch, everything about Joe Linton, he was so rusty. The header was good. That was the Joe Linton that we know and love. Powerful header, nice little cross in the box. Sadly, Onana saved it. We get a chance again when I think Gordon flicks it to the back stick, and Almiron is Rizzler papers width away from getting a foot on it. And then they go down the other end. Again, it's a shit goal to concede. Is it Ahmad, fucking the ex-Sunderland loanee of all fucking people. Again, he's unmarked, loads of space, takes a shot. It's a good strike, to be fair. Look at the marking there is fucking atrocious once again. Everybody's ball watching, clubbed in. There's no leadership back there. Dubravka, open your mouth and tell somebody to go on the back stick and close that fucking shot down. Didn't do that either. He strikes, it's a good strike. It's the back of the net. We're 2-1 down. We're chasing the game. They then bring Hoyland on, who gets another goal, just runs straight through the middle of the team, and he shoots down to the bottom left-hand side of Dubravka, and he's like tracing paper, goes right through him, and you just think, what the fuck are you doing, Dubravka? Just get the fuck out and put your hand there, mate, and stop it. Sorry, I've been distracted here by some of the comments. Mark, get rid of this fucking wanker in the comments, please, if you can. We haven't got time for his shit. If you want to come on and talk about the game, Manchester United fans, and it's a good win for you, fair play. If you're going to be a little fucking helmet, jog on. Get rid of the prick, Mark, will you? So yeah, going back to the point there, Dubravka, he's just not good enough. And there's a reason we bought Nick Pope, because he's not good enough. He's too hesitant to come off his line. He flaps at crosses. He doesn't make himself big enough. He's a shit goalkeeper. He's done. We've progressed beyond Martin Dubravka. To be honest with you, there's too many players in this squad. Going back to the result, let's finish the game off. Screamer from Lewis Hall, by the way. What a fucking goal that was. Lewis Hall showed some really good attacking play tonight. Defensively caught a little bit. Lovely tackle at the end to block. I think it was Rashford getting in and making it 4-2. But Lewis Hall winds up 20-odd yards from goal and hits a fucking raker in the back of the net. And it's an unbelievable goal. That's 2 belters at Old Trafford for Lewis Hall. Favorite ground for him. He's getting like Matty Longstaff, and hopefully he'll have a better Newcastle career than Matty. So it's 3-2, and then that's how the game ends. And it looks like we've fucked Europe, to be fair. Again, just looking at the comments, they're fucking Rooney. George says even Slabhead Rooney said it was a pen. That just sums up the complete bias of Sky Sports to have 3 ex-Manchester United players in there. And they would go, well, Andy Cole played for Newcastle. You wouldn't fucking think it when you listen to Andy Cole talk. That was a Manchester United TV channel, as much as I've fucking ever seen one. And it was an absolute disgrace. And Sky are just fucking shit. They really are. Honestly, they can get in the bin. They're just such a biased wank channel. They really are. Stu Max says, when defending, is ropey as it has been. We have to be more clinical in front of goal. Some big chances. Do you know what? The squad needs investment. In the summer, there's no doubt about that. It needs massive investment. There's too many average players in that squad. Let's go through that team tonight. Dubravka, average, out. Get a better goalkeeper in. If it's somebody to challenge Pope for number 1, get the boy from Valencia in, the Georgian goalkeeper. Fantastic goalkeeper. Good with his feet, sweeper keeper, get him in. Trippier, is he too old now? Maybe move him on. Tino can be the starting right back, and we can have another right back. Kraft can play right back. Do a move Trippier on. The injuries creeping up on us. Is he getting too old? Maybe time to move on. Botman and Cher, fine, no problem with that. Lewis Hall, no problem with that. I think he's shown he can be a really good left back. Going into midfield, Sean blows hot and cold. Maybe a decent squad player, but not a starting 11 player. Bruno, I don't even know if Bruno will be here. If we don't get Europe at the end of the season, I think Bruno's gone. I really, really do. I know I talked about people being hyperbolic on what's going on Monday, but no European football for me, I think, spells the end of Bruno Guimaraes at Newcastle United. I really, really do. Joe Linton, brilliant if he can stay fit. Anderson's coming along really well. Miley's coming along really well. Willock, again, can he get over his injury problems? Miggy Almiron, not good enough. Get rid, bin off. Barnes, good player, but got a lot to show people next season. Gordon, fantastic. I think great season. He'll only get better. Isaac, brilliant, but we need to work on his fitness, and we need to have a player that can take the pressure off of him and play games and give him a rest so he doesn't burn out. So you're looking at that squad. There's a lot of players that need to be brought into that squad. A lot of players. JPD said, even though pathetic from Trippier tonight, he really has cost us too many times this season. I just think he's getting too old, JP. I just think his legs are gone. He's still got that ability to whip a ball and he's got that vision, but I think his legs are gone. If Munich wanted them, maybe we should have got rid. If Munich wanted them in the summer, get rid. For me, get rid of it all. Sensible statement. Clearly, is an issue of big match mentality. That must be on Eddie. He sets the culture. Do you know what I think it is sensible? These players haven't got the pedigree and the experience to play in those big games. These are the kind of games. I know people screwed their face up when I said that, but somebody like Chiesa from Juventus can play in a game like that. He would thrive and grow in a game like that. He would welcome that pressure because that's the kind of player that he is. Players like that, even Bruno Fernandes tonight, as much of a twat as he is, thrives in a game like that. He wants that pressure. These guys go hiding. Too many of these guys go hiding. And I'm not saying they were bad tonight, but they just weren't good enough. You know, they didn't get the foot on the ball. They didn't want to make things happen. The fucking left back looked like he was more interested in making stuff happen. You know, than a lot of the other players on the pitch. Running around too much. Even when, you know, we were 3-2 and the clock was ticking down, 94 minutes. Tick attack, passing between each other. Get the fucking box. You know, if we got a draw there, could have kept this Europa League dream alive. Fucking around with the ball too much. Just be more decisive. Take a risk. You know, Sean's saying when you give Kraft an extra year, you're going nowhere. Yeah, I mean, Kraft wasn't too bad tonight, but yeah, I see your point. It doesn't really say much about ambition. Alan saying, I'm just sick, Chris. Worst Man United team in 30 years, and we still can't beat the Old Trafford. The worst thing is as well, Alan, there's a lot of these shit houses will be giving it the big lardy, you know, matey boy in his, you know, flannel pajamas. United, we're back. He'll be giving all that crap, you know, and they were dreadful tonight. 3 rubbish goals by Newcastle. Newcastle didn't turn up. And, you know, a nice finish by Gordon and a screamer by Hall. But outside of that, we just weren't good enough. You know, we lost the ball. The passing was too loose. We were too static with our movement. Fucked around with it too much. The shape was all off. The goals marks just showed there on the screen. Defensively, piss poor positional sense. Really piss poor. That back four's cost us this season, I think. I really do. They've aged out. They've aged out. You know, Byrne cannot play left back. When he gets done for pace by McTominay, he cannot play him left back. He's good at centre half. Cher's brilliant at centre half. Botman is good, but we need to get him fit. Keep him fit. And that's a great centre half to have. You know, Hall and Livermore look good in full back positions, but I think Trippier's done as well. I think his legs are finished, and I would move him on. I really would. As great as he's been for this football club, and he'll go down as one of the best players we've ever had. He was transformative in the takeover. We can't run the risk of him getting done for pace next season, regardless of how good he is on the ball. If he's going to play that position, move him into a number 6 role, and he can be a defensive midfielder and give us that option in the middle of the park. But again, he's not got the legs for that. He'd have to sit in front of the back four, pick the ball up and ping it, rather than trying to chase players. So I think at fullback he's done. As a vigilante, says we keep losing these important games at important moments. We bottled it again. It's hard to disagree with that, mate. Billy's in the comments. I'm sure Billy's been on commentary tonight. Billy, good to see you. I'm not too far from old Coventry, mate, actually, but way too late to grab a pint. Billy's saying it's like we were beaten by 1980s Wimbledon, hoofball and set pieces. If you can't defend set pieces with a 6'8" defender, then something is wrong. It's a very valid point, mate, as always. 100% says Kiwi Toon for the Valencia keeper. Adam says, I don't think Big Joe had much of an impact. He didn't in the last game either. He's just too rusty. He's too rusty, Adam. Roger said, I'm a huge Tino fan. Do you know what, mate? That's a very valid point. Are his injuries becoming a worry? It's a really, really valid point. Because he had a bad injury at Southampton as well. So that is a concern, you know. Harris Nashby, what's he look like at Swansea? You know, he's been injured as well. So I don't know what to do at fullback. I really, really don't. If Tino's not the answer. Ghost Pie Me says that offside, you don't need legs to be offside. Just have your mind in the game. Yeah, it's a very, very good shout. RJ Fox says, over 300, hit the like. That'd be great if you can, guys. We really, really appreciate that. Dan is saying, on a positive note, 30 years of supporting the Toon this month. Well, happy anniversary to you, mate. And Newcastle have give you the normal present to do, disappointment. So enjoy it. Dave Eddie's saying we've had tons of chances last couple of games. Sometimes it just doesn't happen. Pope should have started. I know it's easy to say, just my opinion. No, opinion shared by a lot of people, mate. But yeah, we have had loads of chances the last few games, and we just haven't been clinical enough and not good enough. The quality's just not been there. And I think that's the issue with the squad. The squad lacks quality. If you take out Isak, you take out Bruno and Gordon, you know, and Cher maybe as well, right? Out of those players, take them aside, the quality isn't really there. Anderson has good moments. He's young. He's learning. Miley the same. You know, what's Sean now? He's 26. He has these little 2 or 3, you know, weeks of good form, and then he drops off, and he goes back again. He drops off, you know. So he's good for a squad player, but not a starting player. You know, we have to upgrade on so many positions in this squad if we realistically want to challenge for the top 4. And I do think there's an opportunity there with Klopp leaving Liverpool, because I think they're going to sink. I really do. They're not going to be like 12th or something, but they're going to slip out of the top 4. So it's between Newcastle and Aston Villa who wants that position, really. It's maybe Spurs, but I've got a feeling that Ange Postecoglou might fuck off, to be fair. Certainly with the noises he's been making, I couldn't blame him. So it'd be an interesting one to see what happens to the top 4 next season. Dean saying should have took those chances in the first 10 minutes. 100%, Dean. If we'd done them in the first 10 minutes, they would have shit it, and that crowd would have turned on them big time, and we would have battered them. Billy's saying how we effed up that 3-on-1 summed it up. Yeah, the one Isaac had, I don't know what he was doing there, Billy. He should have buried that. Absolutely buried that. Bruni says, well, a top 6 squad, simple as that. It's hard to disagree, mate. I think there's too many average players in there. I really do. Jack says that was horrible to watch. I don't disagree with you, Jack. Keith saying the club has to be realistic about who's good enough to wear the shirt. Do you know what it is, Keith, as well? I think there's too much sentimentality with this group of players. They've done a phenomenal job. They kept us in the Premier League. They got us to top 4. And you have to doff your cap to them and say, do you know what, lads, well done, right? But they're another year older, and the rest of the league always pushes on. Better players come in, new coaches come in, they get more out of players, and people's levels go up. And if you just stay where you are, you suddenly become not good enough to be in a top 6 Premier League squad, and you have to be replaced. Whether you're replaced with a young player who's coming through the ranks like a Louis Miley or an Elliot Anderson, or you're replaced with a new signing, whoever it may be, you will get replaced. Inevitably, you will get replaced, because that's what football does. Football moves on, and football replaces people. And this Newcastle squad is no different. It doesn't matter how good a lads they are, they will have to be replaced if they're not good enough. Comment there from Christopher Moody. You have to take the whole season into account. Losing at home to Forest and dropping points against Luton and others is kind of shitty. We need a better final ball and work on our set plays. It's definitely kind of shitty, mate. I think that those games have come back to haunt us. The Bournemouth, Luton, Forest games, where, no disrespect to those sides, we should have blown them away. We should have beat them, and we didn't. And we didn't because we weren't good enough, and we made mistakes. And I think Eddie Howe was learning about those mistakes. Dan Burt, left back's a perfect example. Toasted in those games, left it way too late for us to do anything in them games, to get points, to make an impact. But yeah, the injuries have cost us, but these mistakes have also cost us. And credit to Eddie where he's due, but criticism as well where it's due. And that was a time where I think he didn't use the squad well enough, and it bit us. It really did. I'm not saying get rid of Eddie, but that was a learning curve for him, and I think it's cost us points. Ragatoni saying time for the board and the coaching staff to be ruthless. This transfer window, 100% agree, mate. 100% agree. I just don't think a lot of these players are top 6 quality, and it's time to move them on and upgrade. Alex Telvin saying, I personally wouldn't mind selling Willock along with the fodder. Everyone agrees on the likes of Almiron and Dubs. We could get 35 to 40 million from and replace with a more reliable 6, which is needed. I do think a 6 is a really good idea. We saw that in the Brighton game yet again. Players like it was and Cisco finding space in those little pockets in between the midfield and defence. Too many teams have done that this season. And no matter what he says, I think we do need a 6. And that has definitely been apparent in games. What worries me about Willock is these injuries. Willock is a brilliant player, Alex, when he's fit. But if he's going to keep picking up these niggly muscular injuries that keep reoccurring, we don't need that. We need players that are fit. So he may be in trouble in terms of being sold. And if we can cash in on him, who knows? They might look at it. Johnson, Dubs on the second. He looks so small and go, awful, John. Awful. Just no presence as a goalkeeper at all. He couldn't save a fucking Word document at the minute, Martin Dubravka. He's all right with his feet, I think, but coming out making himself big, it's just non-existent. Non-existent at all. PJ saying the worst part of this is how chuffed those twats are in the Sky Studio. Smarmy, arrogant fuckers. Well, thankfully, mate, I didn't hang around to watch them. I'm watching it in a hotel, so when it was finished, I'll just come straight up to do this with you guys. But I could just imagine the sycophantic smirks and cheers. I mean, listen, Manchester United have been shit tonight, right? If Manchester United get Europa League football and they draw a half-decent side, if they keep Ten Hag and that squad of players, they'll get humped and they'll be out of Europe, and then the fans will be wanting their blood again straight after that. So for me, they can be as excited as they want, but I just, they're not a good side. They're way off the top 4. Redger saying, sorry to say, but many of their players look like they wanted it more, especially in attack. Why is that? It's a very good question, mate. Very, very good question. I think it's something Eddie Howe is going to get asked and he has to answer, to be honest with you. Martin saying, praying for Pope in the next game. I don't even know if he'll play him, Martin. I really don't. You look at it now, we're still 7th. We're way ahead on goal difference. So if, let's just say, Manchester United fuck up and lose the last game, and Chelsea fuck up and lose the last game, I think Chelsea probably going to finish above us anyway. But, we could still maybe, I don't know, hit Manchester United if they don't win that cup final, which hopefully they won't. We all want City to batter them. We maybe get, is it Europa Conference, I think? Is that what Mark, I think it is? So all these permutations have gone against us this season, in terms of the injuries, the suspension of Tonali, the rotten ties we've had in the Champions League and the Cups. It has bit us in the arse. That's all mitigation, but we've also cost ourselves games as well, with aging defenders making silly mistakes at the wrong time. Tactical naivety, overplaying, and just getting ourselves in trouble as well. So we do have to look within, I think, as well, to some of the problems in the season. We can't just blame injuries and suspensions and bad draws. We do have to look within, and there's a lot of them players, I think, if they're really honest with themselves, they've regressed. Some of them have regressed, and it's time to move on. And Eddie has to see that. I hope he does see that. Ghost Pyre May saying this now has the feeling of a squad rebuild job. Agreed. It was never to achieve in a few windows. Got to fill the squad out with depth. I think that's the problem, Ghost, is that we just don't have the squad depth. You look at the bench. I mean, even tonight we brought on, 3 players you could arguably say should be in the starting 11, but zero impact because they're in and out like the fucking hokey cokey because of injuries, and it just. I mean, Almiron's shit anyway. He's done, in Premier League. He's, I think, was it Jacob Murphy got more assists, I think, this season than Almiron's got in his whole fucking career or something in the Premier League. So, or in his best ever season. So he's done. He should have been flogged in the last summer, and he wouldn't have been around a miss from a yard against AC Milan in the Champions League, and maybe would have got through the knockouts. But yeah, there's a few players, Wilson, Almiron, arguably Longstaff, that need to be moved on. I could see Sean being kept around as a squad player, really could, because he's got an engine and it gives you that work rate. But you look at Miley and Anderson, if they can stay fit and keep progressing, you've got to keep them two around. But I honestly do think if we don't get Europe this season, I think we could be looking at a Bruno Guimaraes-shaped hole in this midfield, which is not good. RG Fox said, I changed to another channel after seeing the Mank Wank Fest. God blame you, mate. You should just watch a tune review, lads, mate. It's much better to watch, at least the Newcastle through and through. We are a work in progress last year. Got us a bit gassed. Yeah, there is a bit of that, but you have to kick on. If you finish in the Premier League at a certain point, you've got to look to go higher. You've got to do better than you did last year. That's got to be your plan. I work in sales, and if I said to my manager, I did X last year and I'm not going to do X this year, they'd ask me for tangible reasons why I couldn't. And if I couldn't explain it, they would tell me I'm being unambitious. So as a football manager, you've got to do the same thing. The Clon lad is saying, I fear we lose Bruno and Isak if we don't get Europe. I think Isak will stay, mate, but I think Bruno could go. Except Man United to win this weekend. Not too confident when we will start the same side. Yeah, very true, mate. Philip is saying this transfer will make or break the whole of next season. Yeah, I agree with that. Totally agree. Peter saying, sorry, Chris, I just can't see how being the man to take us to the next level. Tactically poor, weak fame management, and shies away from big decisions. Top 4 or a trophy next season, or he's gone. I don't disagree with that, Peter. I think the pressure will be massively on him next season. And if he doesn't perform, and there's good, big, high-profile managers kicking their heels up, the PIF might get itchy fingers. But he's done a good job this season to get us to where we are. There's been some tactical naivety, no doubt about that, and he's got to bear the brunt of that, and I hope he does. But this squad needs rebuilt, and I think he has to get away from the fact that these are his lads or his players. I think they've done what they need to do for the club. Great, well done, lads. Time to move on. Get better. Buy better, as Keegan always said. And the Zig saying, pointless having a V12 engine in the milk flow. Absolutely, mate, absolutely. George, that's obviously a Longstaff comment. George is saying, if there's one thing that sums up the frustration and disappointment for me, it's watching us trying to play out from the back with nothing, no movement, only increasingly hard passing options. It was too static, George. Too many people scared, not wanting the ball. That's the problem. Bruno always wants the ball. Sometimes he overplays, little flicks over the head, and people are starting to scout him out there. And he needs to be very careful there because, if you just press him and he does his little flick, if you stand off 3 yards and he does his little flick, and you double up with your teammate, you'll get the ball off him. And I think Man United did that more than once tonight. So he has to be very, very careful. Davison, Dubs literally collapsed like a controlled demolition for the 3rd goal. Really disappointing. He is done. He's absolutely done at this football club for me. He really, really is. And, I really, really hope that Eddie Howe sees it, because that, to me, just was not good at all. Davison, Trippier was finished as soon as Gazpacho, love it, went past him. He gave up. How many mistakes has he made this season? Father Time is undefeated, I'm afraid. I agree. I think Trippier's best years are behind him. I think he was so good in the first season that we had him, in the season and a half that we had him. Such a good player. Assists, quality, good at the back, defensively sound, even though his pace was waning. But I think these injuries have, caught up on him. Same as they caught up on Byrne. He has to play centre half and no more. Look what happened when he was left 1-on-1 with McTominay. He got roasted. That is not good. So Byrne cannot play that fullback position. But I think Trippier is a liability now. Defensively, good offensively, but bad defensively. So, Tino needs to get fit for me. Has to stay fit. And he is the number one right back for me next season. Again, David said, I've got that one. Sorry, Dave, I did that before. It's been left in the stars. Nice little super chat from Dan. Thanks, mate. We hypocritical. We criticise how we've been sentimental. Yet most of Newcastle fans lost their mind over the thought of a bigger and better stadium. It's a fair point. That is sentimentality, but slightly different, I suppose. We're talking about a stadium as opposed to players. Because players come and go. We all know that. Even Shearer came and went. And Shearer was arguably the best we've ever had. Probably Beardsley was the best quality, but Shearer was the best goal scorer. Players always come and go. Players always age out. We know that. But stadiums are slightly different, mate. But I do appreciate it. Comment there from the Lynch man. I can see there. Great to see the Lynch man back in the comments. Sick as a dog, he says. Deserved to lose. How not starting Joe Linton Pope is the biggest game of the season is absolutely ridiculous. James has always been, as James used to be on our channel many moons ago, James has always been somebody who's questioned Eddie Howe's ability to be that man, and there's always been that talk in the media about, is he the Mark Hughes of the Newcastle project? Sometimes you can say it's unfair, but you can understand the comparison. And I think as a football club, if you want to go to those next levels, sometimes you do have to go for a more experienced, bigger manager. Manchester United are a great example. They've gone through, managers, experience that's never quite worked for them. Ten Hag's kind of in the middle somewhere. I don't think he's going to work for them either. So it's a viable question. It really, really is. And Eddie's learning on the job, but can we afford for him to make more mistakes next season? And I think if he makes big mistakes next season, it could be trigger time for him. But he deserves to start next season. But this summer transfer window has to be better than the last one. Dean saying, did Man U win the league, judging by the after-match scenes? Well, obviously they did. Isn't it funny, Dean, when they say there's no rivalry between them and Newcastle United, yet they're having a massive big party, about this result. So go figure. I'm just watching my Wi-Fi there, guys. Hopefully you've still got me. I'm waiting a little bit. A couple of more comments, then I'll shoot before this dies. Katie P saying, missed the ball playing centre half in the first half, and not having to go Byrne or Kraft. But Man United knew we wouldn't take the ball forward or ping along past. Too predictable. I do agree we are too predictable, and I think people are figuring this out. Rigatoni saying City's second keeper is an example of how far away Dubs is as a deputy. I do agree with that. I think he's piss poor. He really, really is. RG Fox said the upside of this game is the Banks will keep Ten Hag even for next season. Very possibly. Very possibly. One swallow doesn't make a song. You know what I mean? I just think he's been so poor, this season and last season as well, really. I just don't think he's he's the right manager for that club. I think he's too small-minded. But if you look at the way the owner's going on, or the part owner now anyway, then he would, he's not doing what they wanted him to do either. If it was going to be a save, he's tried to do everything on the fucking cheap. So God knows what's going on there. God knows what is going on there. A couple more comments, guys, before we go. Davey saying, nice one, mate. Thanks for your time after the game. Oh, no problem, Davey. No problem. Glad we could help you through the defeat, mate, because it is a bit of pill to swallow. It's tough. Very, very tough to swallow. It really, really is. Lucas saying, Eddie won't drop trips, too loyal. I think you'll have to, mate. I just think he'll have to drop them because I just don't think he's got the legs anymore. And I think it's something that he really, really has to look at. He really, really does. Because we can't be sentimental. It's just going to hold us back. It's absolutely going to hold us back. A couple more comments, guys, before we go, before my Wi-Fi dies in the comments here. Oh, here we go. RG Fox saying, cheers for your time, Chris. No problem at all. Tim saying, another good watch, Chris. Onwards and upwards. Thanks, Tim. Really appreciate that, mate. One from Trevor. Another week showing, sorry. Not sure about how it's been in our hands, but this is capitulation. I don't disagree with that. And Mercurial says, utter shocking defending from the first two goals. Pathetic. And that's probably a good way to end it, I think. Really bad goals for Newcastle United. No problem, Ghost. Thank you very much for that. Really appreciate that. Really disappointing goals to concede from Newcastle United. A lot of work to be done, I think, in the summer. A lot of work to be done next season. We've still got Brentford at the end of the season. We have to finish strong if we can win that game. Who knows what will happen with the European positions if Man United happen to lose or whatever. But we're sitting in seventh at the minute. I think we're still maybe in for a shout. But I think looking at that tonight, it's disappointing. I think It's just one game too many for Newcastle. I just don't think the quality was there. I don't think the sharpness was there. The fitness was there. The tactics weren't there. And again, very similar to the Carabao Cup final. That team, who isn't very good, beat us just probably with a bit more nous, really, than a naive Newcastle United. But it is what it is, guys. We'll go again against Brentford, one more game, and then we'll be done. And then we can dissect and talk about the rebuild in the summer, where we think things need to change, and what kind of players need to come in. And we'll look at the transfer links as always, and make sure you keep check the channel out, guys, through the summer. We might do something with the Euros. Who knows? We haven't discussed it yet, Mark and I, which we will do. But that's us done for this evening, guys. Thank you so much for coming in the comments. I know it's a tough night tonight. It's a bit of pill to swallow. But if you haven't already, smash subscribe. We'd love you to come and join us. Help get us that 8,000 mark. Hopefully we can get there very, very soon with help from you guys. Refer to family and friends. Like the video if you haven't already. We've had a good few here in the chat tonight and watching along with us. Have a great evening wherever you are. Try not to let this wind you up too much. Go and have a beer, go and have a walk, go and have a sleep, or whatever it is you need to do. Consume Newcastle United content and let people moan about it and pick it out, like I've done it and a few others will do, I'm sure. Team Review, True Faith, Gallagher Shots, all the guys involved. We'll all have our say about it, but we'll be back with the match previews and the post-match for the Brentford game, and then we'll start picking through the bones of this season, and make sure you check us out for that, guys. Have a great evening wherever you are. We'll see you later. Cheers.